So, if you're worried that this movie goes over the line and is offensive, I will say that yes it does and yes it is. But don't let that stop you from seeing it. The comedy is meant to push boundaries and it has a purpose. It's not any worse than a South Park episode, so just don't worry about it, alright? That being said, let's talk about some Nazis. The plot! It's World War II, and young JoJo is looking to join the Hitler Youth so that eventually he can go to war with his friends and the rest of the Nazis. There's an incident that happens that leads to JoJo meeting an unwanted person in his life. And this person helps JoJo start to understand that maybe, just maybe, being a Nazi isn't such a good thing. Oh yeah, and his imaginary best friend is Hitler. Roman Griffin Davis. This kid is fantastic. I almost feel like this kid's performance won't be recognized at all because the majority of it is comedic. This character goes through an incredibly important transformation that holds the entire weight of the symbolism of this movie. And this kid carries that weight in his performance. It's so good. What makes him so funny in this movie is that he's absolutely 10 years old, and 10-year-olds believe everything you tell them. Taika Waititi. He plays JoJo's imaginary friend Hitler, and he's absolutely hilarious. He takes what's known about Hitler, and he exaggerates it. And ultimately, he makes fun of Hitler by acting like such an evil idiot. These are the years that are going to solidify Taika Waititi's career. ScarJo. ScarJo plays JoJo's mother. You can tell that her character doesn't like war and doesn't like Nazis. But because she's a smart character, she doesn't show it. She just does her thing, while also being like the best single parent in the whole world. Once again, ScarJo, amazing performance. She's so heartwarming in this, you just want to give her a big hug. Overall, this movie is amazing. It's amazing. The directing and cinematography are awesome, but you already knew that because it's a Taika Waititi movie and he just makes great movies. This might be one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. And what makes this movie so funny is that it's entirely from the perspective of a 10-year-old. The whole foundation of this movie is through the eyes of a kid with an imaginary friend. And while you're going through this movie, it's funny until it's not funny. Then it gets real as fuck and dark, and it grounds you. This movie smacks the joy out of your soul. That's when you truly feel for these characters, and they make you feel the weight and gravity of war. I've been thinking about it, and I have no issues with this movie. I think for what it is, it's perfect. I can confidently say I've never seen a movie like this. And yes, it's offensive, but it's in the best way possible. Go see it. Go see it. Rapid fire review. Subscribe.